Good morning, good morning, good morning. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and you are breathing. Today is Friday, February 3rd, 2023. My name is Stephen Carnegie, and welcome to This Is Just a Thought. Today's word of the day, quisling, which means one who commits to treason, a traitor, or collaborator. Quisling. Hope everyone is enjoying their Friday. End of the work week is here. We finally made it. Wow. It's been a long, dreary, rain-soaked week here in North Carolina. Man, the rain's finally gone. The sun's coming out. Things are looking up. Man, wow, it's been a long week. This rain, it rained all day yesterday. A cold, dreary rain at that. So the sunshine and I would say warm temperatures, but it's not going to be too warm. Maybe get on up into the 40s today. But tonight it's getting down in the 20s with wind chill expected. Tomorrow morning and the rest of the weekend, it's going to be cold. But in comparison, once again, in comparison to most places in this country, most notably Vermont, they're saying it's going to be 50 degrees below zero this week in with windshield. Wow. So, I mean, we got the rain. Here comes the cold air, and it's coming across the whole, pretty much the southeastern part of the United States. Yeah, 50 degrees below zero in Vermont. Wow. Wouldn't want to be there. Yeah, it's going to cool down a little bit here this weekend, but they're saying the middle part of next week, it's going to be in the 70s. Yeah, 70s. Wow. Just wow. Man, I have no words for this weather. It is just a strange weather pattern, I guess. Maybe global warming. Who knows? Who am I to say? Hey, last night I got off work and I just happened upon, and I forgot, the skills portion of the Pro Bowl. And I happened to catch it right in stride. The dodgeball game. I gotta say, I'm not buying it. I'm just not. I'm just not. I watched a little bit of it, and I watched about 10 minutes of it, if that. That's all I could stomach, and I just turned it down. I watched some old Law and Order. I just did. Man, I don't know how this Pro Bowl is going to go this weekend. Apparently it's going to go whether I like it or not, or whether you like it or not also, because hey, the dodgeball game was last night. The skills portion was yesterday also. And apparently this Sunday, the flag football game is going to be on and popping. Well, no popping. There's no hitting, just snatching flags. Wow. The times have changed. Is all I can come up with. I mean, I get it, got it, understand it. You have those top tier athletes, you're paying them a lot of money, you don't want them to get hurt. And this certainly has been a season of injuries in the NFL, most notably the concussions. So, I mean, hey, I understand it wholeheartedly. I mean, hey, you got to protect your interests. But I don't know about that dodgeball game and this flag football. I know I don't know about this flag football. I just don't. We'll see what happens. I guess I'll tune in. Like I said, I tuned in last night and I couldn't stomach too much of it, so I turned the channel. So I'll tune in to the Pro Bowl game. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Maybe it'll be exciting. I don't know. I doubt it. I really do. I doubt it. I really do. I don't think too many NFL fans are going to be too thrilled and excited about that. Still, I haven't heard the numbers for the skills portion and the dodgeball as far as viewers. I guess we'll get updated at some point in time on that. But is this the new way of the NFL? Is this how the NFL is going to do the Pro Bowl? I mean, they may even start doing it during the regular season. Never thought I would live to see this, so you can't say it can't happen. You just can't. I personally never thought I would live to see this, but man, wow. It is what it is. It is what it is. Hey, moving along here also, man. Just like most parts of the country here, but North Carolina's not exempt. They're having a teacher shortage and school bus driver shortage. I read an article. The teacher shortage is it's affecting more than we could know. I just didn't know. Well, I kind of knew there was a teacher shortage. I just didn't know it was still ongoing. Silly me, I thought it was the bus drivers because, man, my daughter's bus, if that thing comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Thankfully, I'm at a point in life where I can just, hey, at a certain time, I'll say, all right, let's go. Get in the truck, let's go. And I can get her to school. But I just think about those parents who aren't that fortunate and blessed. I feel safe in saying with this school bus shortage that the attendance numbers for this year, as crazy as it sounds, a lot of you may be saying, well, you got Uber, Lyft, cabs, city bus. A lot of parents, they rely on that school bus transportation. And with these school buses, this school bus driver shortage, it's affecting them. And I think those attendance numbers for this year, they're going to be off. They're going to be way off. But yeah, there's a teacher shortage here. It's short by however many thousands or tens of thousands in comparison to last year, and it has left the state school boards and local school boards scrambling. They're going to have to start calling back up some of these retirees if they're willing to come and deal with all this, the nonsense that goes along with school. Because in addition to the school bus driver shortages, and the teacher shortages, we've also have experienced an uptick in school lockdowns because of threats. And this is in elementary and junior high school. I believe there was one high school also. Earlier this morning, or right before I came on to do this podcast, there was a lockdown at a school in Wake County, Zebulon to be specific, and that school had received a previous threat early on in the week, and they had cleared it and dismissed it. So now they went back into a code red lockdown this morning. I have no words. What is it? School's an easy target now? Take out all your anger and frustration. These may be students. I believe some of them were or are students. They're calling in and making these threats. But wow. Just wow. What in the world? Yeah. The school in Wake County, Zebulon, is on a code red lockdown. Everything's locked down. Apparently, I guess that threat from the back here earlier in the week, it reappeared. It resurfaced. So it's a lot going on with our schools, from the lack of teaching to the lack of school bus drivers and to all these threats. It seems like every other day there's a threat somewhere in this country as it relates to schools. It just does. What in the world is going on with the schools that people feel is an easy target, that they could just make these idle or idle threats? I have no words. I have no words. Still, like I said, it was right before I went on with that school lockdown. So we'll see what happens with that. Folks, I say the grown folks' minds, but apparently it's trickled down to the children's minds also. Because a lot of those threats, like I said, they were from kids that went to the school, or some, throughout time, they previously went to the school. So I guess it's the best I could describe it as. Kids are imitating what they see from adults. They just are. So they call and make these threats, and it throws the whole school day and school system or that school's way of conducting business. It throws it off for the entire day. They have to take every threat serious. They just do. We all know. A lot of times we've heard in the past when these threats are just glossed over or brushed aside, and then it comes into fruition. So yeah, they got to take all of these threats serious. They just do. All right, it's going to be a short podcast today. I have to get to work. I just do. Man, have you guys heard of the story of this New Jersey councilwoman that was killed Wednesday evening? Shot 10 times while sitting in her SUV in front of her home. 30 years old. 30-year-old Eunice Dwumfor, I hope I'm saying that name right. Chances are I'm not. I do apologize. Who was recently married and had a child. She was just, she's only been a councilwoman for a little bit over a year. She was elected back in November of 2021. And hey, she was well liked. Republican 30-year-old councilwoman shot dead in front of her home. She was well liked. Everyone said that they didn't have a problem with her. She treated everybody with a high degree of respect, and there was no hard words said about her from anyone, even the neighbors. One of the neighbors did an interview and said she had no problems with her whatsoever. And everyone, from the mayor to the governor to other city council members, are just in shock and awe and disbelief, because they're saying, hey, this was not in her character. They can't imagine anyone wanting to harm her or anything that she could be caught up in to have herself killed like that. Because what the police are saying, this wasn't a random act. This was targeted. Shot 10 times in the car, sitting in front of her home. Wow. Like I said, she had been on the job a little better part of over a year, or just over a year, and this happens. But you know, the media, boy, you know the media. But the media, they came out, you know, they gave you the spiel about how she was well liked, travesty or whatever, and then she's serving on a borough outside in New Jersey, but the media made it known she's from Newark, New Jersey, and they said so. Police are investigating a possible connection to that. Well, if you know anything about Newark, New Jersey, oh man, let's just say it's not a great place. It's just not. So the media they slid that in there. She's from Newark, so investigators are investigating a possible connection. Well, Newark is Newark. I personally have never been. I have some family members that are from there. They can tell some tales, I'm sure. But man, for the media to slide that in there, who knows? Because they're saying it wasn't an isolated incident. It was targeted. To shoot somebody 10 times in the car, yeah, that was targeted. That was. There wasn't a carjacking, because she was found in an SUV that had rolled down a few feet, or however many feet, yards or whatever, and crashed into a tree. So it wasn't a carjacking. Her money was still on her. Cards, credit cards, whatever. Everything was still on her. She was just shot 10 times. Wow. Here goes that gun violence again. Or maybe it's not just the gun violence, as the media has alluded to. It wasn't. It was a targeted attack. Wow. Certainly hate to hear that. They also went on to say, you know, in addition that she was well liked by any and everyone, she was an active member in her church, and even the mayor went as far as to say that that she was a devout Christian who tried to implement that Christian lifestyle into her everyday life and dealings with people. She treated everyone with respect. Never heard a harsh word come out of her mouth. Never heard anyone say any harsh words about her. Wow, just wow. That is most definitely heart tugging. So young, 30 years old. No words. Still, you know, details are still coming in. Just happened Wednesday night, so police are investigating actively. So we'll see what happens with that. Pray for that family. Pray for that child. I believe they said she had one child left. Pray for that child. No word on how old the child is, by the way. But man, pray for everyone. Just pray. All right, let's go get it. We're going to go get it a little quick. I got to, you know, like I told you earlier, I got to skedaddle. Got to go to work. Man, have you guys heard? Because I heard a little bit last night, and then I woke up this morning, and it was all over the news. A Chinese spy balloon is flying over Montana. Billings, Montana, to be more specific. Chinese spy balloon in 2023? Why, what do you know? looks like those old Cold War spies and tricks and antics aren't done away with. So they, if you've seen the picture, it's a big white balloon just floating through Billings, Montana, and it has, officials are saying that it is a spy balloon. They're flat out saying it belongs to China, but China has came out and said it's not us. We need more definitive details as to why you're saying it's our balloon. We don't do anything like that. Okay. All right, whatever. Well, the balloon, they're saying, they tracked it, and it came down from Alaska. If you know how China sits in that part of the world, it could have came from China. Maybe. Quite possible. China said, no, it's not ours. We're going to need some more definitive information before we say it's ours. What they're going to say, it just got away. And if you're saying to yourself, because that's the first thing I said, well, why in the world is the balloon in Montana? Because apparently Billings, Montana, or around that area, it's not in Billings, it's just outside of Billings, sits one out of 4 nuclear missile silos. So, like I said, they're saying this balloon is a spy balloon, so it's gathering intel. They're saying it has high resolution definition cameras, and they said there's a little there's a little, what would they call that thing? It's the size of 3 school buses. It's flying, like I said, near several U.S. military sites, and it has these high definition resolution cameras, and there's a basket, apparently they're saying, that stores all this data and information along with those cameras. Wow. Now the Pentagon has came out and says it's no threat to the U.S. civilians or the military. Well, you don't know what it's gathering. And one Montana congressman came and said, hey, shoot it out of the air. Well, U.S. military officials and of course those ranking officials in Montana said, no, that's not a viable option at the moment because of the effects that could happen for those civilians down on the ground. Shrapnels. Shoot that thing. If you're thinking it's just a big old balloon, no, it has the term balloon, but for all intents and purposes, it's not a balloon made out of latex. There's a lot of metal, a lot of things that go into making those balloons. It's just filled with helium or whatever, and it just floats. Now, this comes on the heels because Secretary of Defense Anthony Blinken is supposed to be visiting China sometime next week. So you can rest assured that's going to be the topic of conversation for them, but amongst them, between them, they're going to be having a lot of talk about that. This spy air balloon that's flying around Montana, man, it's let's just call it what it is. These are the times we are living in, and I know for the longest time in our history here in the United States, we went through this, and then it seemed like it had died off sometime, maybe 20 or 30 years, but more and more, increasingly every day, it seems like we're going back to that way of life. These spies and these clandestine personnel that just keep popping up, like that spy family, husband and wife, up in Virginia that was selling or trying to sell top secret information to the Russians. So they thought they were selling it to the Russians because they worked at the husband. He worked on nuclear submarines. Yeah. So it looks like we're right back to that way of living. Got to be mindful and careful of who you talk to and what they're doing. You never know. Folks living right next door to you could be spies, it appears. In my opinion, and a lot of people have said it, and I believe it wholeheartedly, all of this, these spies that are popping up, these top secret classified documents that are being discovered, that civilians that have these security clearances are passing on or think they're passing on to foes of different countries. 9/11 spurred all of it. It just did. I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's a reality. And now you have this this balloon that just appeared from out of nowhere that came down from Alaska. They're flat out saying it's a Chinese spy balloon, but China said, no, it's not us. We need some more definitive information before you start pinning it on us. Yeah, it quite possibly maybe does belong to China. It belongs to someone. The U.S. government and military said, hey, it ain't ours. We don't have any reason to do that. So it belongs to someone. Just does. Just does. Wow. We'll see what happened with that, with this story. Maybe they will eventually have to shoot it down out of the sky. I mean, what are you going to do? Just let it keep floating around collecting data? Taking shots of different landmarks? Hey, maybe. But at some point in time, you guys are going to have to deal with it. Maybe somehow, some way, because, when it first appeared, it grounded all air traffic in that portion of Billings, Montana. No flights in or out. Nothing in the sky but that. And then they scrambled some fighter jets. But they were just there just in case they had the order to shoot it down, but they didn't. So how long are we going to allow this spy balloon, or I'm sorry, possible spy balloon? It's not. It doesn't belong to the U.S. So how long are we going to allow this thing just to fly around before we take it out? What other data is it collecting? Difficult times, odd times we are living in, and of course, if you're saying to yourself like I did when I first heard it, I was like, oh boy, here we go again. Go right back down memory lane. As a kid growing up, you would hear these tales. Be mindful of spies are everywhere amongst us. It's just at that time, during that Cold War, it was that time of what was expected. Put everybody on a heightened sense of awareness and alert. Just did. Seems like we're going back down that way again. Maybe we are. Maybe we're not. All right. Like I said, this is a short one. I'm going to go on and skedaddle. I want to thank you all for lending me your ears this morning. Continue to like, support, share, offer feedback. Hey, Anchor, who I'm doing this podcast simultaneously with, has a great feature where you can leave a voice response, and I would love to hear your voice. So offer feedback. You can also make monetary contributions. I'm pretty thick-skinned. You can, and on YouTube also, you can jump in the comment box and say yay or nay. Hey, I'm pretty thick-skinned. I won't get offended. I promise you. I've heard it all before in these 49 years I've been on this earth. As I said, you can also make monetary contributions. Continue to follow and listen on Anchor, Spotify. Spotify also, this video podcast goes on to Spotify. Google Podcasts, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Verbal, and WordPress, and of course now YouTube. Get in that comment box and let me know what you think. Hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for listening. My name is Stephen Carnegie. For This Is Just a Thought. Amen.